I understand how these issues are difficult to address and they're complex, and so we're all here trying to work together. If I had more time, I would speak at length about the fences really as a symptom of bigger problems with how our city addresses homelessness. But tonight I just want to tell you the story. So last November, when we had our first freeze and Egan warming centers were not able to open due to lack of volunteers, some friends and I got together some donations and we went to distribute them under the bridges. Right at the area where the new fence has been built, I met a couple that I wanted to tell you about. They were about in their late 60s. We jumped out of the cars and started giving things to people, and the woman approached, and so we got into some conversation, and she said, well, I asked her, what do you need? And she said, we really need to be able to stay here. And I said, well, why? And she said, because the cops had just come through and said that they needed to move along, and it was ice raining at the time, and she gestured to her husband, who was laying on a flat mattress on the ground, and explained that he had just been discharged from Riverbend from abdominal surgery, and he was trying to recover. And she just looked at me and said, you know, we can't keep moving. I need to be able to stay here. He needs to be able to recover. And it was pretty profound to me. That this was the best option that they'd been able to find. And so I wanted you to consider what it might be like to try to recover from surgery under the bridge at Washington Jefferson. And also think of these people when you see the fences and what the fences represent. If our community is measured by how we treat our most vulnerable folks, what does it mean when we say we'd rather spend $67,000 to prevent them from being dry than to build places for them to be legally put their heads down?